I wake up slowly, like my body is surfacing from a deep, dark ocean. My head is pounding, a dull, steady ache that spreads from the back of my skull and settles behind my eyes. I don't know where I am. I don't even know who I am. For a few long seconds, I just lie there, staring at the ceiling, above me. High, white, with decorative molding that looks old and elegant. Eventually, I sit up. The room is quiet, but not silent. Faintly, I hear music, soft, graceful, classical. Something familiar, maybe Mozart? Yes, it sounds like Mozart, drifting gently through the air from somewhere I can't quite place. I look around. The room is beautiful, old-fashioned in a charming way. There's a large bed beneath me, covered in crisp white sheets. The mattress is soft, too soft, like it was made for someone used to comfort. Nearby, I notice an expensive-looking chair, its legs carved from dark wood, the cushions are deep red velvet. A table stands by the window. It's delicate but sturdy, like something from a different century. On top of it is a pen and some blank sheets of paper. I stand up slowly. My legs feel weak. I look down at myself. I'm wearing grey trousers and a grey shirt, both neatly pressed, almost like a uniform, but I've no shoes. My feet are bare on the polished wooden floor. I walk to the window. Outside, there's a wide green field that stretches far into the distance. The grass is neatly trimmed, and the sunlight bathes it in gold. No buildings, no roads, just nature, peaceful and open, and somehow still deeply unsettling. It feels too perfect. I try the window, but it doesn't open, it's locked. The door was too firmly shut, no handle on this side. I twist and pull, but it won't move. That's when the fear starts creeping in. Why am I here? What is this place? This who brought me here, and most of all, who am I? Search my mind for anything, a name, a memory, a single detail, but there's nothing, a blank slate. My thoughts echo in the emptiness of my own mind. It's like I was never anyone before this very moment. Sudden, I feel it, hunger, a deep emptiness in my stomach. My mouth is dry, my throat tight. There's no food in sight, and no water either, only the music, still playing softly somewhere far away. My head throbs again, sharper this time, like something inside is trying to wake up. I clutch the edge of the table to steady myself. The pen and paper catch my eye. I pick up the pen, hoping maybe if I write something it will help me remember, but I just stare at the blank page. What do I write when I don't even know my name? I feel tired again, overwhelmingly tired, as if someone pulled a curtain over my thoughts. I lie down on the bed once more. The pain in my head is fading slowly, but so is my energy. The last thing I hear before my eyes close is the soft flow of Mozart, wrapping around me like a lullaby. Tomorrow, maybe I'll remember something. Anything. Morning arrives, though I never saw the night. The light outside is soft and golden again, just like before. I don't know how long I slept. Hours? Maybe the whole day? But I feel a little clearer now. The pain in my head is dulled. I can sit up more easily. Still, my body is weak and my mouth is dry like sand. I'm still in the same clothes, the grey trousers, the grey shirt. They're clean and smooth, but impersonal, too neat, like they were put on me by someone else. No buttons, no tags, no clues. Nothing about them says who I am or where I belong. Again, I check the door. Still locked, no knob, no keyhole from this side. I press my ear to it, trying to hear something. Footsteps, voices, anything, but there's only silence. Too much silence. I try the window again. It's strong, doesn't budge. Outside, the field is still there, peaceful and wide. The grass moves gently in the wind, and the sunlight plays over it like a painting. But it tells me nothing. There's no sign of life. No houses, no people. Just nature, endless and unreachable. Hunger gnaws at me now, worse than before. My stomach twists and growls, and I can almost taste water in my throat, even though there's none here. I look around again. The room is beautiful, yes? Like something out of a magazine, but cold, not lived in. It's all decoration. There's still no food, no drink, nothing except the bed, the table, the elegant chair, and the paper. I go back to the table. The pen is still there, uncapped. The paper is still blank. I stare at it again, willing some part of my mind to remember. Who am I? What's my name? There's still nothing. I pick up the pen and try writing, "My name is," but my hand freezes. The sentence sits on the page, unfinished, like a question hanging in the air. I try to think of memories, birthdays, faces, places, but it's like trying to catch smoke. They slide away the moment I reach for them. Suddenly I realize something. There's no mirror in the room, not above the table, not on the wall, not on the door. I don't even know what I look like. Am I young, old? Do I have scars, glasses? It's like someone planned it that way, designed this room so I would know nothing. No identity, no past, no reflection. I sit on the bed again, my breath shallow, my hands tremble slightly. The music has stopped, the silence is heavier now. There's a pressure in the room, not from sound, but from the absence of it, like the walls themselves are listening. I write something else on the paper, I am alone. That at least I know is true. Then I hear something, a sound, faint and distant, a footstep, a creak of wood. It disappears before I can be sure. I stare at the door. My heart is beating faster. Someone is out there. The sound returns, this time clearer. Slow, deliberate footsteps echo beyond the door. Whoever it is, they're not trying to hide. Each step feels like a warning. I stand up, unsure of what to do. My first instinct is to run, but there's nowhere to go. I'm trapped in this room like a specimen in a glass box. Then the handle on the other side of the door turns. It creaks open with a soft groan. Light from the hallway spills into the room, casting a long shadow on the floor. The figure steps inside. It's a man, tall, dressed entirely in black. Black shirt, black trousers, black shoes polished to a shine. His hair is short and dark. His expression calm but unreadable. He holds a glass in one hand, filled with something clear. Water? Maybe, but I don't trust it. For a moment we just stare at each other. He's the first human I've seen since waking up, and yet he feels like a stranger I've always feared. "How's your head?" he asks. His voice is low and smooth, unnervingly casual. "My head?" I echo, confused. "It doesn't hurt anymore?" "Good," he says. He smiles, but doesn't reach his eyes. "Are you thirsty?" I hesitate. The answer's obvious. I'm parched, but I don't know if I can trust him. I nod anyway. He steps forward and holds out the glass. I take it with trembling hands. It's cold. I raise it to my lips and drink. The water tastes normal, clean, and it burns slightly as it slides down my dry throat. I empty the glass in a few gulps. But then something strange happens. A wave of tiredness washes over me, fast and heavy, like a fog rolling in. What did you... I start to say, but the words slur. My eyelids droop, my muscles go soft, the room begins to blur. "Get some rest," the man says, stepping back toward the door. I try to stand, to speak, to fight the exhaustion, but it's no use. My body collapses onto the bed like a puppet with its strings cut. I feel my heartbeat slowing, my limbs grow heavy. Before I fade completely, I see the man leave the room, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Darkness swallows everything. Voices pull me from sleep. Not music this time. Real voices, muffled but angry. Male, close. And then silence. A sharp ache returns to the base of my skull. It's duller than before, but it pulses with every heartbeat. My mouth is dry again. I open my eyes slowly. The room is darker than before. Evening? Night? I've lost track. Suddenly the light flashes on. I blink against it. My head spins. He's back. The man in black stands near the door, his hands at his sides, watching me closely. There's no glass in his hand this time, no fake smile. "Wake up," he says. I'm awake, I mumble. My throat feels raw. He steps forward. "I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to answer them." And I don't really know anything. We'll see. He doesn't sit, doesn't relax, just looms over me like a judge waiting for the guilty to speak. "Who are you?" he asks. I shake my head. "What's your name?" "I don't know." "I'll ask you again. What's your name?" "And I can't tell you," I whisper, "because I don't know." He leans in slightly. "Where are you from?" "I don't remember." He watches me for a moment, then walks to the table. It's another glass waiting there. He picks it up. "Drink this." His eyes narrow. "You're going to drink it." "I won't," I say. But even as I speak, fear creeps into my voice. Then I see it. A gun. Small, dark, held easily in his other hand. He doesn't raise it, doesn't threaten me with words. Just let me see it. I take the glass. My hand shakes as I bring it to my lips. I drink. Sleep comes faster this time. Too fast. My thoughts vanish like smoke, and the room spins into blackness. When I wake, it's night again. The room is quiet. The air feels still and heavy. I sit up slowly. My head aches again. Not sharp, but persistent. The table is still there, the chair, the pen, the paper, and a new detail, a glass of water half full. I stare at it, remembering the last drink, the heaviness, the sleep. But thirst wins. I drink. I sleep this time. I wait, listening for footsteps. Nothing. And suddenly I hear the man's voice again, in my head at first, then outside. Could I ask you again? But it's not just him. Another voice answers. Someone else is here. I press my ear to the wall. The voices are outside, maybe just beyond the door. He's hiding something. What are you, really doesn't remember? What about the drinks? They're not helping. We've got 2 more days, that's it. Though how much does he know? It falls silent. Then the sound of a key turning in the lock. But it stops halfway. They're locking the door, but they're leaving the key in the lock. My heart jumps. They're leaving. Footsteps fade. And then silence. But the key is still in the lock. So they've made a mistake. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the door. The key is still in the lock, just on the other side. That single fact circles my mind like a flickering light in a dark tunnel. Slowly, a thought begins to form, not about the present, but from somewhere deeper, something older, a memory. It comes like a ripple in still water. I see a field, the same one outside the window, endless green stretching under a pale sky. I'm lying on the ground beneath a large tree, its branches reaching over me like arms. In my hands, I hold a pair of binoculars. I'm watching something. No, not something. A house. It's the house I'm in now, I'm sure of it. I was watching it from a distance, studying it carefully. There were lights in the windows and shadows moving behind the glass. I remember adjusting the binoculars, focusing on a figure near one of the windows. I couldn't see their face, but I knew they were important. I was waiting for something. Then, behind me, there was a sound. A crack, a twig snapping, and I turned just as a man appeared out of the trees. He wasn't alone. A large black dog was with him, low to the ground, growling. The man had a gun. Before I could react, he struck me. Hard, the metal slamming into the side of my head. The world spun and fell into blackness. That's the last thing I remember before waking up in this room. I lift my hand now and gently touch the back of my head. There's still a bump there, swollen and sore, but I'm not just feeling pain, I'm feeling certainty. That memory was real. I wasn't a guest. I was watching this place from the outside. Was I spying on them? Was I sent here? The more I think, the more the questions grow. Am I a policeman, a detective, a spy? Or something else entirely? Morning comes again, and with it the now familiar sunlight that pours in through the window. I open my eyes to the same room, the same clothes on my body, and the same heavy feeling of not knowing who I am. But something is different. My head feels clearer, the pain has faded to a distant throb, and the memory from yesterday, the tree, the binoculars, the man with the gun, still lingers in my mind. It didn't disappear like a dream, it stayed as real. I sit up and listen. There's no music this time, just silence, thick and full. I wait, hoping the man in black won't return, but half expecting he will. Then, without warning, the door opens again. He steps into the room, still dressed in black, still calm. But this time there's something different in his face, a hint of impatience. He doesn't ask how I am. Well, he says, can you remember anything? Yes, I reply cautiously, a little. He steps closer. Who are you working for? I don't know. Why were you watching us? I don't know. Who are you? I take a breath and look him in the eye. Tell me who you are, I say, and maybe it'll help me remember. He smirks at that. Oh, very clever. He mutters, then turns and walks out of the room without another word. The door clicks shut behind him. I stayed still for a long time, trying to make sense of what just happened. He knows I saw something. He's worried. That gives me power, even if I don't understand it yet. Then more pieces come. I see myself again, crouched in the field, but this time it's dusk. The light is fading. I'm wearing a blue coat, heavier than the grey shirt I have on now. I have the binoculars in my hands, and I'm watching as a car pulls up to the house, a white Jaguar. I remember watching it carefully, noting everything. 2 people step out, a man and a woman, both carrying a large box. I can't see what's inside, but I know it's important. I was gathering information, I had a purpose, but I still don't know why. Then, just like before, the sound behind me, the crack of a branch. I turn, and the man is there again. Then the gun, the pain, and everything fades. The voices return that night, louder this time and clearer through the wall. I don't move, just listen. They're arguing again, but it's not like before. This time, they sound anxious. One voice says, "I'm starting to remember." Another insists that the drug drinks aren't working. Then I hear something that sends a chill through me. 2 more days. That's all we've got. I don't know what they plan to do after 2 days, but I'm sure it's not something I want to be around for. Then comes the sound of a key turning in the door. I sit up sharply, but they don't enter. Instead, I hear footsteps walking away. I rush to the door and check. The key is still in the lock from the other side. I freeze for a second, heart pounding. They've made a mistake. For the first time since I woke up in this place, I feel a crack in the walls holding me here. I move quickly to the table and grab the paper. It's still blank except for the few words I scribbled days ago. I slide one sheet under the door, careful not to make noise. Then I take the pen and gently insert it into the lock. Pressing it against the key, it resists at first, but then I feel it shift. The key is moving. I push harder, and the key falls with a soft clink onto the paper outside the door. Holding my breath, I slowly pull the paper back under the door, inch by inch. The tension is unbearable. If the key falls off, if someone hears me... But finally I see it, the metal glint of the key resting neatly on the sheet. I have it. I slide the key into the lock from my side and twist. The mechanism clicks. The door is open. I peek out into the hallway. It's empty, dimly lit, and silent. I take the key with me and step out as quietly as I can. My feet are bare on the cold floor. The corridor stretches out on either side, lined with doors. At the far end I can see stairs descending, and beyond them, faint music. Mozart again, like the house is trying to lull me back into complacency. I move carefully, trying each door I pass. Most are bedrooms, elegantly decorated, but empty. Then I open one more, and what I see makes me stop. There's a room filled with paintings, dozens of them, stacked, hanging, some still wrapped. Masterpieces. I recognize a few even without knowing how. A Picasso, a Rembrandt, a Van Gogh. Priceless. And in that moment, I realized what kind of place I'm trapped in. This is not just a prison, it's a hideout. They're not just captors, they're art thieves. I step further into the room, careful not to disturb anything. The walls are lined with shelves and crates, many labeled with numbers or foreign markings. Canvases are stacked against each other, their frames covered with cloth. But some are unwrapped, and what they reveal leaves me speechless. These aren't fakes. These are originals, real masterpieces. My eyes land on a painting I recognize immediately, the famous stolen Picasso, the one I remember reading about in a newspaper, though I don't recall when or where. It was taken from the London Art Gallery in a theft that stunned the world. I crouched to look closer at another painting leaning against a wall, a Van Gogh landscape, unmistakable in style. Then a Rembrandt. These pieces don't just belong in museums, they are museums. There are millions, tens of millions in this room, quietly hidden in this old house in the countryside. I realize now that whatever I was doing in that field, watching this place, it must have been important. I wasn't some lost wanderer. I had a reason to be here. But if these people are international art thieves, then who am I? Am I one of those who lost their memory? An undercover cop? A private investigator? I stand in the center of the room, surrounded by priceless beauty and crushing questions. I feel like I'm in a museum, yet everything about it is wrong. There are no lights, no visitors, only shadows and secrets. One thing is clear now, the people who live in this house are dangerous. I step back out into the corridor and gently close the door behind me. The Mozart is still playing somewhere below. The calmness of the music feels almost mocking now, like the house is pretending everything is normal. I need to get out of here. I can't face them again without a plan. Then I remember. One of the bedrooms I checked earlier had a telephone. Maybe, just maybe, it still works. I walk quickly but carefully through the corridor, retracing my steps to the bedroom with the telephone. Every creak of the floor beneath my feet sounds like an alarm. I pause at each corner, each door, listening for voices, for movement, but the house remains still, wrapped in its music and silence. Finally, I reach the room, one of the larger bedrooms with tall windows and heavy curtains, and there it is, a small telephone, sitting on a table beside the bed, like it's waiting for someone to use it. I close the door behind me gently and approach the phone. My hands are shaking. I pick up the receiver and hear a dial tone. It works. I scan the base of the phone for a label and see it. Bratt Street, 35,972. I don't know where that is, but it's something. A clue, maybe even an address. I take a deep breath and dial. 999. The line clicks and a voice answers. Calm. Professional. Emergency services. Police. Fire or ambulance. Police, I say quickly, my voice just above a whisper. Quickly, please. Heading you to police dispatch. Another click. Then a second voice. Please, what's your location? Bratt Street, 35,972. I say, I'm a prisoner here. I don't know the number of the house, but I'm inside. There's stolen art here. Millions of pounds worth. Please come quickly. What's your name? The voice asks. But I can't answer that. Not because I won't, because I still don't know. Just hurry, I say. They'll find me if you take too long. I hang up and step away from the phone just as I hear something outside the door. Footsteps, voices, getting closer. I freeze. My heart pounds in my ears. He was in this room before, one voice says. Check again. Where's the key? I thought you had it. I get the other one. From the kitchen. 5 minutes, that's what we've got. I look around the room, searching for a place to hide, but there's no time. I press myself against the wall beside the door and wait, trying not to breathe too loudly. Footsteps retreat down the hallway, then silence. Come back. And I've called the police. Now, I just have to stay alive long enough for them to get here. The moments stretch like hours as I wait, pressed against the cold wall of the bedroom. Every second ticks with unbearable tension. I hear a door open nearby, then hurried steps moving from room to room. They're searching for me. I grip the edge of the curtain, ready to hide behind it if someone bursts in. My breath is shallow, almost silent. I don't know how long I can keep this up. Then I hear one of them speak just outside the door. The door's locked again. What? He's not in there? No. But we locked it, he must be. Another voice joins in, sharper, angrier. Find him, take your gun. And this time, finish him, understand? Yeah, I'm going. I hear heavy footsteps pacing the corridor. Doors opening, doors slamming. Closer and closer. He's getting nearer. I duck behind the curtain, crouching low, heart hammering against my ribs. I can't fight him. I have no weapon. If he finds me before the police arrive, it's over. Then something changes. A distant sound rises over the silence. A siren. Not one, but several. Growing louder. They've come. The sound of police cars surrounds the house. Tires crunch on gravel. Car doors slam. Voices shout commands. It's chaos outside. I risk peeking through the curtain and see flashing blue lights dancing across the field. Relief floods through me like warm water. They're here. I'm not alone anymore. And you're rushing downstairs. The thieves, their voices are tense, trying to stay calm. Good evening, Inspector, one of them says, all false charm. What can we do for you? We've had a report. A new voice answers, firm, professional. We're looking for some stolen paintings. There's nothing here, you must be mistaken. We'll see about that, maybe we look around. Of course, but I must ask, where did you get this information? A phone call, the officer replies, anonymous. There's a pause, then the thief answers, slower this time. Well then, follow me. From upstairs, I listen. Minutes pass. Tension coils in my chest like a spring. Then I hear it. The police returning. More voices. Louder now. Doors opening. Orders are being given. Heavy boots echoing in the hallway. Finally, someone knocks at the bedroom door and calls out, You in there? It's the police. I open the door slowly, blinking at the sudden lights, and a tall officer steps in. He looks me up and down. Well, he says, almost smiling, Eddie, this is a surprise. I blink at the officer in confusion. Eddie? The name sounds foreign and familiar all at once. My mouth opens, but no words come out. The officer takes a step closer, studying my face like he's searching for recognition. You really don't remember me? He asks, a hint of amusement in his voice. I shake my head slowly. I don't even remember my own name. He lets out a short laugh, not unkind, but surprised. You're Eddie Hampton. Come on, Eddie, don't mess around. You know who you are. But I don't. Not really. He frowned, trying to connect the name to anything, a place, a feeling, a face. Nothing comes. I really don't know, I say. You have the wrong person. No, I don't, he replies, with certainty. You're Eddie. Eddie Hampton. Not a big name, not one of the major players, but yeah, we know you. His tone shifts, less friendly now, more businesslike. So what are you doing here, Eddie? I tell him what I can, about waking up in the room, about the pain in my head, the man in black, the drinks, the paintings, the stolen art, the phone call, the corridor, the paper, and the key. He listens patiently, nodding now and then. When I finish, he exhales slowly. Well, he says, I'll give you this. It sounds insane, but the paintings are real. The people we just arrested are big-time thieves. You're just a wild card in this story. And I look at him, still not fully understanding. So, am I a cop, a spy? He shakes his head. No, Eddie. You're not a cop. You're not a spy. You're a thief, a small one. You break into houses, you take TVs, radios, cash, and small electronics. You've been arrested a few times, nothing major. But this? He gestures to the chaos behind him. The police, the flashing lights, the priceless art. This is way above your usual level. I feel like the ground under me has shifted. I stare at the floor, trying to absorb the truth. I'm not some secret agent, not a lost hero. I'm a petty thief who stumbled into something much bigger than I ever meant to. But you helped us, the officer says, his tone softening. You made the call. You unlocked the door. You gave us time to get here. Whatever you were doing, watching this place, maybe you were planning to rob it, who knows? But in the end, you did the right thing. I don't say anything, I don't know what to say. My name's Eddie Hampton, and apparently I've been a criminal all along. But in this one moment, this one strange, terrifying, painful moment, I might have actually done something good. They take me outside, into the sunlight. The field that once looked so peaceful through the window now stretches wide and open before me, but it doesn't feel freeing. It feels surreal. The house from the outside looks like a mansion pulled from a postcard. Who would have guessed it was hiding stolen masterpieces worth millions? Police officers move in and out of it like ants, cataloguing paintings, securing evidence, speaking into radios. The two thieves, the man and the woman I only saw through blurred memories, are now in handcuffs, their faces blank, silent. They don't look at me. They don't need to. Whatever I was to them, a threat, a witness, a mistake, no longer matters. I sit on the back of an ambulance while a medic checks the bump on my head. You're lucky, she says. That hit could have done worse. I nod, but say nothing. I'm too lost in thought. The officer from earlier, the one who called me Eddie, returns and hands me a blanket and a bottle of water. He sits beside me for a moment, silent at first, then speaks in a quieter tone. You probably still don't remember everything, he says. It might take time, or maybe it won't come back at all. I look at him, unsure of what I even want. To remember everything, all the petty theft or the past mistakes, or maybe forgetting was a kind of mercy, a reset. Do I have a record? I ask, eventually. He nods. Yeah, but nothing serious, petty stuff. You're not a bad guy, Eddie. Just small time, really. Wrong places, wrong choices. I stare at the horizon, watching the wind move through the grass. What happens now? He shrugs. We'll take you in for questioning. You'll give a statement. But considering everything, the call, the help, the state we found you in, I doubt you'll face much, especially if your memory's still messed up. We sit in silence for a while longer. The air is cool, the sun warm, and I'm suddenly overwhelmed by exhaustion. Not just from lack of sleep, but from everything. The confusion, the fear, the pressure of not knowing who I was, only to discover I wasn't someone worth remembering. But maybe that's not the end. Maybe I'm not just Eddie Hampton, the small-time thief. Maybe I'm the guy who stopped bigger criminals from getting away. Maybe I'm the guy who tried, finally, to do the right thing. As the officers lead me to the car, I take one last look at the house and the sky above it. I still don't know who I was yesterday, but I'm starting to think I can decide who I'll be tomorrow.